In this video, I'm just going to show you some basics of ratios. So first off, ratios are a way that we can compare things. So for example, if I wanted to compare how many blue ducks I have compared to yellow ducks, and I have 3 blue and 4 yellow, I'd say my ratio of blue to yellow ducks is 3 to 4. So that's 3 blue ducks to 4 yellow ducks. I can also choose to compare, say, for example, blue ducks to all of the ducks. So I have 3 ducks that are blue, and the total number of ducks I have were what? I had 3 blue and 4 yellow, so add them up, that's my total, 7 ducks. So comparing blue to all ducks would be 3 blue ducks to 7 ducks in total. So it does require, ratios needs you to pay careful attention to what you want to be comparing. Because if I compare blue to yellow, that's something totally different to if I compare blue to all. Okay, and it's also important in the way that we write 3 to 4. That's for blue to yellow ducks. But if I said yellow ducks to blue ducks, that would be a different ratio. Instead, I would have 4 to 3. Okay, and these ratios, they're not the same. Okay, so some things that we should know about ratios. 2 ratios can be equivalent, and that means that they mean the same thing. So an example of that could be, let's say I had one green ball and 2 black balls. Okay. Let's also do another example where I had 4 black balls and 2 green balls. So in here, my ratio, for example, would be 1 green to 2 blacks. In this example, I have 2 greens for every 4 black ones. But let's say if I wanted to just, right now, if you see how I've drawn it, okay, I'll put a line through here. These two, the top half and the bottom half, are equal. Okay, so it's still in the same ratio if it's equal. And if you look, this is just my original ratio, 1 to 2. So here is an example of 2 ratios that are different, but they eventually do mean the same thing. Okay, so this leads on to my next point, that a ratio can be simplified. And in that manner is just how I said how 2 to 4. It can also be written as 1 to 2. They're the same ratio. This one would be considered as the simplified ratio because it's got less numbers. Okay, the numbers are smaller. We like working with smaller numbers because it's easier. When you do write this, so 1 to 2, it equals to 2 to 4. But like I said before, order matters, okay? So 1 to 2, it's not the same as 2 to 1, okay? I could be comparing 1 green to 2 blacks here. This one compares 2 blacks to 1 green. So in there, order matters, okay? Now, if we have no units given for our ratio, we can choose what units we want. Okay, so here's another example of a simplified ratio. So 75 to 100 and 3 to 4. I'll also quickly show you guys how to simplify the ratios actually. So let's start off with the top example because that's easier. Okay, so let me write out my more difficult one. Okay, now I like to make the ratio as small as possible. So I'm going to try to do 1 to something. Okay, how I get from 2 to 1, I can divide 2 by 2 and that gets me to 1. If I do it on this side, I'm also going to have to do it on this side. So I divide this side by 2 and that'll get me what's here, which is 4 divided by 2 is 2. So there's my simplified ratio. Now the reason I picked the number 2 is because 2 is a factor of 2 and 4. Okay, I can divide both of these numbers by 2, and that's why I would pick 2. So in this example, 75 to 100, I want to simplify it down to 3 to 4. Okay, 75 to 100. Now, personally, I know that if I divide 100 by 25, I would get to 4. But maybe, let's say you don't know that, for example, okay? This number ends in 5, this number ends in 0. I know I can divide both of them by 5. So let me try to do that. Okay, 100 divided by 5. That would give me 20. If I divide one side by 5, I'm going to also have to do the same to the other. Okay. That's going to give me, let me check, 15. Okay. Alright. I still got a 5, I still got a 0. I can divide by 5 again. So I'm going to do that. That would get me 4 here. Do what I do to one side, I got to do to the other. Divide this side by 5 again. And this now becomes a 3. And this is as simple as it goes. So I just showed that 75 to 100, when it's simplified, it can be written as 3 to 4. Now, the last point I want to let you guys know, if there are no units given in a ratio, which usually we don't, we can pick whatever unit we want as long as it's consistent. And preferably pick one that suits your question. Okay? So let's do an example. Let's say on a map, they give me the ratio 3 to 4. Okay, that means for every 3 centimeters on the map, it shows 4 centimeters in real life. So maybe you might see this, okay, maybe not on a map, but maybe like on a plane model or something, okay? A miniature plane model, I don't know. I can also say that 3 meters is, for every 3 meters on the map, there's 4 meters in real life. Okay? As long as your unit is consistent, so you use the same for both, then that's all that matters, okay? Now, sometimes they might give you a ratio, say 3 centimeters on a map shows 4 meters in real life. This is a bit more complicated, and I'll show you guys this in a different video.